Hello there guys and welcome, it is Niran here and today it is time for round number 7 of our F1 2015 career mode here with Carlos Sainz Jr. Today we are at Canada after that astonishing race last time out at Monaco. This race is going to have some way to go to compete with that one, but you never know. This track layout, it's a track that I like, it might be a track that Carlos likes, it's the first time that he's driven here, but I don't know, I have a sneaky suspicion this could prove to be quite a good race as well. Never mind that, though, we are here at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve looking at the Wall of Champions there in terms of one of the famous corners on this F1 calendar. It's looking pretty overcast, so we could have a fairly rain-affected weekend. You never know, or it could get sunny, fairly unpredictable weather. But before we find out, it is time for the qualifying report. Qualifying saw controversy from the off after Daniel Ricciardo broke down at the final corner, bringing out yellow flags and preventing fast laps from both Toro Rossos, who would start 16th and 18th. Kimi Raikkonen, meanwhile, was fastest. Lewis Hamilton would be fastest in Q2 from teammate Nico Rosberg. Daniel Ricciardo salvaged his car to make it into Q3, with both Saubers into the shootout for the first time this year. There was no repeat of McLaren's Monaco heroics, as both drivers were eliminated. But in the shootout, Nico Rosberg would take pole from Kimi Raikkonen's Ferrari. Danny Kvyat took a fantastic career best 4th, with Lewis Hamilton disappointed to take 5th only. So reading from 10th upwards, it's Marcus Ericsson who will start in the top 10 for the first time this season alongside Valtteri Bottas in a disappointing day for Williams. Nico Hülkenberg and Felipe Nasr would occupy row 4, with Daniel Ricciardo and Lewis Hamilton sitting just in front of them. Danny Kvyat took a fantastic 4th to line up alongside Sebastian Vettel, with his teammate Kimi Raikkonen in 2nd, but it's Nico Rosberg who would take pole for the Canadian Grand Prix.
I mean, if you're going at that speed and you're quite close to each other, you can't do anything. You don't expect them to break there, so...
well, we're not friends.
Fernando is faster than you.
I'm not slowing down for Nico.
Check, wanna be involved, but ain't telling me nothing I wanna involve in. I'm running my own thing like an insult. I'm waving like a bingo wing, I'm waved, it's not a bingo ting though. I ain't asking for the info, so no brother ain't asking for no inroads. I'd rather bypass you on a ring road. Whoa, come let me get back to the flow, back to the code, back to my old. Next thing you know I go back to the road like...
So Monaco was not only a good race, but it was also a race that saw an incident between two teammates, Max Verstappen and Carlos Sainz Jr. down at Saint-Devote on lap 2. And how many times have we seen that in Formula 1? Mark Webber v Sebastian Vettel, Nico Rosberg versus Lewis Hamilton, Fernando Alonso v Felipe Massa, and in Fernando is faster than you, Gay. All these different things. And they'll be going round in the minds of the two Toro Rosso drivers. It was an appalling qualifying from both of them. Both caught out by the yellow flags right at the end of the qualifying session in Q1, caused by Daniel Ricciardo going off at the final corner. So Verstappen starts 16th, Sainz starts 18th. As you can see, it's very sunny, so it looks as if it's going to be a fully dry race. And if that is the case, we'll be seeing a one-stop strategy with the guys starting on the options and then moving on to the primes. But the 5 lights are now on, and they are now off here for the Canadian Grand Prix on board with Sainz. It's an okay start in comparison to the Manners, but he's lost a bit of ground on Sergio Perez. He switches to the inside, though, to go up the inside of the Force India driver. He's now on the outside of Max Verstappen. These guys in close proximity yet again after their antics in Monaco there, and Verstappen and Sainz again almost coming into contact. The two McLarens battling front there as well of Alonso and Button, but up the inside goes Sainz there through turn 3 and 4 up the inside of Verstappen. That's lost Verstappen in position to Perez, as well as Sainz thinks about a move up the inside of his fellow compatriot there, Fernando Alonso, but decides against the move. The two McLarens still alongside each other there as they go through turn 6 and 7. Sergio Perez, though, now sitting behind Carlos Sainz. Is a decent start. Him and Verstappen have actually swapped positions off the line. Verstappen starting 16th and Sainz starting 18th. They now swap positions there as Fernando Alonso and Sainz get very close to contact. Perhaps a little bit of contact there. It's a snap of oversteer for Sainz, and that's lost in both the positions he gained on the first corner. Perez goes through, Verstappen goes through, and now Will Stevens in the Manor is going up the inside. This is the first time that Sainz has actually had to battle with a Manor. For position, he's down in 19th place, but he gets a better run out of the hairpin and manages to drive straight back past Will Stevens in that Manor car. And he's just got to try and focus there after that almost that accident with Fernando Alonso, as Sergio Perez and Alonso are going alongside each other there down the back straight. Perez makes it through past the Spaniard, and through the chicane they go for the first time. Sainz gets a very, very good exit there out of the final corner. He'll duck out of the slipstream now of Max Verstappen. He's going to go to the outside down towards turn 1. Can he finish that move off? It looks as if he does, because the outside becomes the inside for turn 2, and Sainz completes that move then on his teammate Max Verstappen, this time without any drama caused for the young Dutchman. But now, moving on towards the end of lap 2, and it's Fernando Alonso who's now in the sights of the young Spaniard Sainz. He's looking to try and get back into 16th place where he was on lap 1. He goes up the inside of Alonso down into turn 1. Now McLaren Honda power unit unable to do anything about even the Renault power unit of Carlos Sainz, and through goes the Spaniard into 16th place. You might have seen on the minimap there's a bit of a gaggle that Sainz is now at the back of, and this is what it's caused by. A huge battling going on between Felipe Nasr, Nico Hülkenberg and Valtteri Bottas in the Williams. It was a poor qualifying from both Toro Rossos but also from both Williamses. Felipe Massa and Valtteri Bottas found themselves way down the order, and it's ended up with Bottas and Massa being in a massive gaggle that goes from 18th all the way up to 8th. But as you can see, Sainz is trying to scythe his way through this gaggle, and he makes it up the inside of Button. He's allowed some space, though, for the Brit to get a better exit out of the hairpin. He does just that. Button squeezes him towards the inside, but again, better straight line speed from Sainz, and the assistance of DRS will see him get past Jenson Button down towards the final corner. Next up is Sergio Perez, the man he passed on lap 1. He's got the DRS on the Mexican driver in front of him, but of course, that Force India's got a Mercedes power unit in the back of it, so he's going to have to be pretty inventive, I think, on the move here. He's got a very, very good exit, though, out of the final corner. Again, DRS, but Perez has DRS on Grosjean in front, so it's a bit of a straight, just a straight drag race down towards turn 1. He breaks far later than Sergio Perez. He's up the inside, but is it job done? No, because Sergio Perez flings his Force India up the inside down through turn 2. Very gutsy stuff from Sergio Perez in defending this 14th position, but down towards turns 3 and 4, Sainz is going to go round the outside. He leaves just about enough space for the Force India driver up the inside, but goes around the outside and takes P14. We've seen some fantastic battling in this race so far, and we're only on to lap 6. Next up, though, is the Frenchman in the Lotus, Romain Grosjean. It's taken a bit of time for Sainz to catch up to Grosjean after the battling with Sergio Perez on a few laps ago. But again, a Mercedes power unit in the back of that Lotus, so Carlos Sainz is going to have to get pretty inventive with a move down towards turn 5. He's going up the inside there, is he, of Grosjean? I think he's just about got the move done. Grosjean almost understeers straight into him, though. That was almost huge contact there, but again, a clean move in the end yet again, though. Very, very close between the two drivers, but Sainz now finds himself up in P13. Next up, we've got the front of this gaggle, and look at them all battling with each other. It's Maldonado, Hülkenberg, Felipe Massa, and at the back of it, just watching on, is the Swede Marcus Ericsson in the Sauber. Contact between Hülkenberg and Massa as Maldonado gets past both of them. Ericsson, though, squeezing out Sainz there, going through turn 2, and that's allowed Grosjean to get a run on the Toro Rosso driver down towards turn 3. He briefly takes 13th place, but Sainz drives back around the outside. Some fantastic battling here in this battle for, I think it's 9th position. Meanwhile, there's battling right at the front as well as Kimi Raikkonen breezes past Nico Hülkenberg to take the lead of this Grand Prix. Did I just say Nico Hülkenberg? Nico Rosberg. I can't remember if I said Nico Hülkenberg. Nico Rosberg. He's breezed past Nico Rosberg to take the lead of the race. Lewis Hamilton nowhere to be seen after a pretty poor qualifying. Now, meanwhile, Carlos Sainz is trying to make a move on Marcus Ericsson. He goes to the outside there through turn 1, which again becomes the inside for turn 2, and that is job done, similar to the move he made on Max Verstappen on lap 2. And on to lap 9 here, Sainz is only 2 places away from points. Now, later on to lap 9, he's got a really good exit down towards the hairpin on Nico Hülkenberg. Might try and make a move down towards the hairpin, but that's some fantastic defensive driving from Hülkenberg, preventing any sort of switchback move down towards the hairpin. That's one thing I absolutely love about the AI this year. They do actually defend that position. That was like a real driver there, just sort of maintaining his, well, not maintaining his line, going on the defensive line, preventing any sort of switchback manoeuvre from Sainz going from the outside to the inside, down towards the chicane though, and it might be a bit more difficult for Hülkenberg to defend because Sainz traditionally gets great runs out of this corner, out of the chicane and down onto the start-finish straight. Starting lap 10, he's ducking out of the slipstream down towards turn 1. He goes up the inside, Hülkenberg goes wide and his job done, and up into P11. Felipe Massa has managed to get past the Maldonado now in the Lotus, and he's managing to breeze away and catch the Sauber driver off Felipe Nasr. That has now meant that Pastor Maldonado is out of DRS range on the Brazilian, and Sainz is going to drive up the inside, and through he goes purely with the assistance of DRS down into the final chicane, and through he goes. Meanwhile, we're on board with Romain Grosjean here. That's Hülkenberg making contact with Pastor Maldonado. He's in the wall. He's lost his front wing there. I don't know what on earth happened. We'll see it on board, though, from the back of Pastor Maldonado. There's just a bit of contact. Hülkenberg swerves far too late. He gets out of control with the DRS flap open. open and hits the wall. He's lucky not to rip a wheel off. Marcus Ericsson and Romain Grosjean taking a free position. That'll surely be a pit stop for Nico Hülkenberg and a different strategy for the German. Meanwhile, quite a few laps later, Sainz has now managed to catch Felipe Nasr, who's been dropped by his almost namesake, even, Felipe Massa in that Williams. But as you can see, without the DRS, Nasr is a sitting duck down the start-finish straight, and up into 9th place now goes Carlos Sainz, making brilliant inroads. He's cut off 9 places off his starting position, starting in 18th and already up into 9th place. But now it is time for the Spaniard to come into the pit lane 3 laps later onto lap 16. He's already managed to gap Felipe Nasr quite substantially, and is trying to catch the battle between Danica Kvyat and Felipe Massa in the Red Bull and Williams respectively. Those guys are battling for 7th place. Up the road from them is Bottas and Daniel Ricciardo, who are battling for 5th place behind the 2 Ferraris and 2 Mercedes. It's a solid pit stop though from the Toro Rosso guys, and Sainz can now focus on trying to catch the battle, the 2 guys in front of him, Danica Kvyat and Felipe Massa, before the end of this race on this prime stint on the prime tyres. The harder compound, the one that lasts longer but is a lot slower than the options he started on. 2 laps later and we move on to lap 18, coming towards the 3rd sector now, and as you can see, it's a good run there down towards the hairpin from Carlos Sainz. He's going to lunge it up the inside, small lock up there, but he's managed to pass the Russian Danica Kvyat, who had a fantastic qualifying, getting up into 4th place, but he's dropping down the field like a stone at the moment. He's now down in 9th place, and the smaller brother car of Carlos Sainz lunges it up the inside down into the hairpin, and that is job done. Meanwhile, moving on to lap 21, you could see there that Williams is just too quick in a straight line. It's taken about 8 laps altogether to get close enough to Felipe Massa to actually embark on a move. Going up the inside down into turn 1, that does become the outside though into turn 2, and I think Felipe Massa will just about hold on there as Sainz goes wide and onto the marbles on the outside. But on lap 26 it looks as if a new battle has arisen between Massa and Sainz for 7th place. We're on lap 26 of 35, so we've still got a long way to go in this one as these guys battle for 7th place. Looking up the inside again though now is Sainz down towards turn 5 and turn 6. He'll have the inside now down towards turn 6 there, but Massa comes across him. They both hit the wall. Sainz there forced into the wall by Felipe Massa. I don't know if he just didn't see him there, but just astonishing. Massa just comes straight across him. They still continue. Sainz has got a bit of front wing damage. Sainz lunges it at the inside, giving him the hip and shoulder completely for being basically put in the wall by the Brazilian, taking no prisoners whatsoever. As you can see here on the replay, we're just not given any space at all. Massa just expecting us to disappear, and Sainz, well, he loses out on a bit of his front wing. He's now lost the position again later on the same lap as Massa goes through. He's, I think, escaped without damage, but he seems to be ailing a little bit. Both of them have lost out to Kvyat really well. I mean, based on the initial time lost due to the accident, but also they're losing time again. Massa goes wide, though, down into turn 1 here, and they're still alongside each other. What a lap this has been for battling. In terms of Sainz, a bit more contact there as well on the exit of turn 2, down towards turn 3 and 4. Sainz thinking about hanging it around the outside, but he's unable to here on lap 27. And getting a little bit messy on that lap there. Lots of hip and shoulders being flung absolutely everywhere. Moving on to lap 28, Sainz trying to go right around the outside this time, down to turn 1. That becomes the inside, as we saw earlier on a few moves that Sainz has made. Seems to be his favourite overtaking place, and he's made it through up into 7th place on lap 28. Now moving on to lap 30, and both of these cars are struggling. Sainz lost part of his front wing, which means he's got increased understeer. And it means that the tyre wear on the front 2 tyres is accelerated hugely. And Felipe Massa, although doesn't seem to have any aesthetic damage, appears to be ailing internally because he's going very slowly, and it's allowing Danica Kvyat and Felipe Nasr to catch as well. But again, these guys going alongside each other through the hairpin. Sainz trying to get around the outside. We're down to 19 runners, so someone's retired, but with the DRS, Sainz completes the move there, and Massa drops back down into 8th position. Obviously, Sainz getting the DRS behind, because he was behind Felipe Massa, but the tyre wear is really poor now. As you can see, massive understeer there through turn 5 and down towards turn 6. Sainz has gone massively wide, and it's allowed Massa and Danica Kvyat, who's now caught us both. He's gone through as well on the penultimate lap. Surely Sainz can't catch these guys unless they're going to battle hugely. We need some dramatic music. Cue the dramatic music, because now, on to the start of the final lap of the race. Sainz is catching Kvyat and Massa fairly quickly. He's probably within DRS range, but he's going to need these guys to battle quite extensively if he wants to make a move for even 8th, let alone 7th place. So down towards turns 6 and 7 now, the chicane. Lewis Hamilton's already won the race. These guys have battled so much. Massa and Sainz have struggled so much. They've ended up so far behind. Sainz just clipping the wall on the outside there where he had the accident with Massa. But as you can see, Kvyat bearing up to the inside. He's gone to the inside of Massa down towards this chicane, and they are battling. This is exactly what Sainz needed because he's right with them now, down towards the hairpin. Kvyat goes to the outside. Sainz gets a super slipstream. He goes up the inside of both of them. It's 3 abreast, down into the hairpin. Double lock up on both the front tyres from Sainz. He's gone deep. He's gone wide. He's forced Kvyat out wide. Massa gets the switchback with an appalling run, and that's given Sainz now the switchback to get up the inside down the straight. He's going to get the DRS because Massa was at the front of the gaggle. He'll get no DRS because he was at the front of the gaggle through the DRS activation zone, and Kvyat's going through now as well. Sainz will have to defend from the Russian down into the final chicane. He's gone wide, he's gone straight across the chicane. Kvyat's got an awful run, and it'll now be a drag race between himself and Massa to the line, but it's Sainz who takes 7th place after an absolutely astonishing final lap. Sainz takes 7th place. What a race that ended up being. Fantastic battling with Massa throughout that second stint, and Danny Kvyat arriving a little late to the party, but he really spiced things up as well. Some fantastic battling, and Sainz yet again for the second time this season after finishing 7th in Malaysia takes 7th here in Canada. It's Lewis Hamilton though who takes the win in the end, recovering from 5th on the grid to beat his German teammate. A missed opportunity there for Nico Rosberg to close the gap on Lewis Hamilton. Sebastian Vettel and Raikkonen 3rd and 4th. Ricciardo got the better of Bottas to take 5th. Sainz taking 7th. Massa and Kvyat separated by less than a 10th. 0.05 of a second in the end. Astonishing stuff from those guys in that drag to the line, and Nasa taking the final points paying position. Here is how that affects the championship. Lewis Hamilton now leading it by 11 points. That battle of 4 at the top of the standings has sort of stretched a little bit now after those results. Ricciardo in 5th with Bottas 6th, Sainz 7th, Massa, Nasa and Kvyat rounding out the top 10. Here's just a little sort of different view as I start to do my outro. Here's a different view. This is on board from Danny Kvyat of that final sector heroics. We were alongside Massa, but there comes Sainz up the inside. Kvyat gets hung out to dry. He's now got Massa who gets a poor run in front of him. It allows Sainz there through. Kvyat gets boxed in slightly, and he's now just got to try and get the slipstream on Carlos Sainz. So Sainz goes through with the DRS. Kvyat breezes past Massa as well. Sainz going defensive down into the final corner and then maintaining his line yet again. But Kvyat is very slow through the final corner. Sainz goes across because he outbrakes himself. But as you can see, an appalling run there, getting a massive twitch of oversteer, and allows Massa to get through even without the DRS, and through he goes. Unfortunately, the replay does end a little bit prematurely because it only ends when Sainz came across the line. But as you can see, Massa was ahead at that point, and that drag race won in the end by the Brazilian. There are the Constructors' Championships, even Mercedes, 15 points now in front of Ferrari, with Toro Rosso still down there behind Williams and Red Bull. But what a race that was. What an end to the race. A fantastic finale between Kvyat, Massa and Sainz. There's Sainz coming out on top in the end. Feel free to smash the like button if you enjoyed that fantastic race. Not doing a bad job in comparing to Monaco, but I think that will still be the best race of all time. If you haven't seen that, go and check it out because it was absolutely astonishing. In the meantime, subscribe if you're new around here as well. Comment about enjoying the video if you enjoyed it that much, as well as your thoughts on the race itself. 50 likes again would be absolutely awesome, just as a side note, but it's been a pleasure ranting at you guys today. Have a good day, enjoy yourselves, and goodbye.